Greetings, upstanders. Dr. O here, and it appears that people are making it a point to interrupt Vice President Harris's or former Vice President Kamala Harris's book tour, and with various types of protests. Several of them have included charges, blaming Harris for genocide in Gaza, and it's quite amazing. Look, to be honest, you can have look, I have had issues with the Biden administration. First of all, it was the Biden administration. It wasn't the Harris administration. I've called out the Biden administration, or if you want to call it the Biden Harris administration, fine, for their role as it relates to what took place in Gaza or what's taking place in Gaza, Palestine now. Absolutely. We can talk about how the Biden administration also has blood on its hands for what happened there, and the mistreatment and the genocide that's been taking place. We can have that conversation. We can also talk about the fact that one of the things that hurt Kamala's campaign when asked if she was going to do anything different than Biden, and she pretty much said no while on The View. And that made a lot of people think she was going to do the same thing in Gaza as relates to what's happening there. And even though people like founder of Zateo, journalist, was very clear that he had a problem with what the Biden Harris administration was doing, but absolutely felt like that Harris would have been better for Gaza, Palestine than Trump, and people can have that debate, so on and so forth. The fact of the matter is, what she said at her last one of the videos that I saw is that she is not the president now. She is not the president now, yet people feel like they need to make efforts to go and disrupt what she's doing as a private citizen to call her out on the genocide in Gaza. Now, I haven't read her book. She says she talks about it, in the book. But the fact of the matter is that there were statements that she made as vice president that got her in trouble, which she talked about, with the administration as it relates to Gaza. When Netanyahu came here and met with Biden, there was a separate meeting with Harris and Netanyahu. And I do believe that she would have taken a different tone than Biden on Gaza, and would not have continued everything directly. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter. Are these protesters going out and protesting the actual president now? Or are they just doing social media posts right now to talk about Trump? Are they showing up in front of the White House to protest? Are they showing up at any public events Trump's doing? I can tell you they're not showing up at public events. You know why? Because Trump isn't doing public events. He's only speaking to members of the military when he goes to like Walter Reed, or when he brings the 800 plus generals in from across the world. He's not appearing in public to give you an opportunity to even protest. But even still, would you be out there and protest like you did with Joe Biden when you called him Genocide Joe and all of that type of stuff? No, you would not, because you will get arrested. And so it doesn't take any courage whatsoever to get out there and critique a private citizen at her event. You know what's also interesting? Regardless of what we think about Kamala Harris and what she would have or would not have done, maybe you even think she would have been worse than Trump. I mean, imagine that, as it relates to Gaza and Palestine right now. But here's the thing. There are also members of Congress and senators who are still in power right now, who supported and rubber stamped everything the Biden administration did. Are you protesting them? Democrats and Republicans. Are you showing up at their offices? Are you showing up at their town halls? Are you showing up online if any of the four that they're doing? No. People are making a concerted effort to target this black woman and call her out in the midst of her tour. And of course, you got, journalists, like Chris Eliza saying she was just a never good politician. Some people also saying, this book is doomed to any campaign. And, she was just a never good candidate. With 107 days, she lost to Trump by less than 3 million votes. By less than 3 million votes. And if you look at the people who talk about voter suppression efforts, some say the palace of the world. Some say that voter suppression efforts cost Harris over 3 million votes. So y'all can talk all the trash you want about how she was a terrible candidate and all of this other type of stuff. I'm coming back with another post of some other issues I got about the 2024 election. But if y'all gonna be protesting, showing up, I don't see y'all showing up at anything Biden's doing. Biden's made a couple of talks here and there. I ain't seen y'all showing up. Clinton's still out there talking about things, but people want to target Kamala. And I think, Obama got heckled at one place, who hasn't been president in like almost 10 years. So what are y'all really doing? What are y'all really doing? I haven't seen like a tenth of the protests for what's taking place in Gaza and the West Bank. I haven't seen a tenth of the protests that were out there against Biden and against Harris. I haven't seen a tenth of that for Trump and his administration. And I haven't seen it, like I said, for any of the Democrats and Republicans who have been in office this entire time, who have been staunch supporters of everything that Israel has been doing. It's been on their side 100%. But you want to blame the black woman who had 107 days to run, who, yes, mistakenly said she wouldn't do anything different, but is a private citizen now. Where's your courage? Why don't you get out there and go to a Vance rally? Go challenge Stephen Miller. Go challenge Trump. Right? It's like, what are you doing? I feel like it's very cowardly, and I feel like it's disrespectful, and I feel like people are scapegoating one particular. But this country has a history of scapegoating black women, scapegoating one woman, one black woman, and they're making her the target of all of their protests for anything, particularly from what I'm seeing relating to Gaza. She did not win the election. She was never president. Yes, she told the line of the Biden administration, period, bottom line. When she did step out of line, they put her back in line. But to get out there and call, and I can critique her campaign, I can critique her book, once I get around to reading it, I can critique all of that all day. But she's, as she said, she's not the president. And y'all who are intent on wasting your money for a potential viral clip and nobody seeing you in the first place, get out there and put half that energy towards this Trump administration. And not only what they're doing in Gaza, but what they're doing right here. This guy literally appointed an ambassador to Israel, who said that I do not believe in a Palestinian. Look it up. Mike Huckabee. Look it up. Like, they've been, you got the Trump administration is supporting an Israeli government that is going to mosques and praying, talking about how they own everything. Where are you at? Are you in front of the White House? Are you putting out things that I can share that's calling out what's happening right now? Because I want to support that. I want to support those types of protests. But it's cowardly as well as ineffective to go and challenge Kamala Harris on her book tour about this right now, when there are so many other people who are politically active right now, including some governors, politically active right now, that y'all can be targeting. And so it says a little something else about why you're choosing to target this black woman. And I need to call it out. I need to call it out. We all know that that administration is complicit in what happened and what's happening. We all know that, but they're gone right now. Take your fight to the people who are still in power. And let's see how brave and courageous you are in doing that. And yeah, it'd actually be great if Trump actually made a public speech for y'all to actually be able to show up to, but doesn't even have a care in doing that. So are there going to be other tactics to get their attention? Are we going to show up at the White House, like, in front of the White House, protest? Like, what's going to happen? All this organizational effort being put towards a woman who's no longer in office is ridiculous, it's cowardly, and it's disrespectful. And y'all need to change up your tactics, because you don't have the support of anybody as it relates to what you're doing right now. At least anybody who's going to help your movement grow significantly. So you got to rethink your flow. You got to switch up your flow and come with something different. There's lots of ways to critique her, but if y'all going to come out, just let's leave her alone as it relates to this right now, because she has no scintilla of power right now. Take your energy to the people who still do. Let me know what y'all think. Hit that like and subscribe. Let's get to 25,000 subscribers. I would appreciate it. That's how we grow the platform. And I want to hear what you got to say. And y'all take care. And like Kamala said, if y'all going to call her out at the rallies or at our book signings, at least pronounce her name correctly. Peace.